What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy new week, happy Monday. How was your weekend? I hope it was good. I hope you had a really relaxing Saturday and Sunday. This morning I did my Monday traditional leg day and then I came back here to wait for a parcel which never arrived, which is so annoying because it's my Gymshark / Whitney Simmons package. They've tried to deliver it twice now, but both times they just don't even ring the doorbell. Like, I live in an apartment building. I don't know when you're standing outside of the building. I'm just having a coffee now. Sometimes I do drink instant coffee. I think I've had too much caffeine in general so far today because I've had an energy drink and a pre-workout, but I started really early in the morning, so I'm just having like a midday instant coffee, which I tell myself is lower in caffeine, but I actually have no idea. And then in a couple of hours, I'm gonna record another episode of the podcast that Andy and I are working on. And we're recording today with our friend Crystal, who is awesome, and I haven't seen her in a couple of years, so I'm so excited to catch up with her. And after that, I have a phone call with my old friend Allie, who I also haven't talked to in like at least 2 years. So I am so excited to talk to her. That's my entire day. Yeah, it's just gonna be one of those days where I'm doing a lot of calls. I blogged a little bit this morning, which was nice. It feels like it's like a brain exercise, getting my writing muscles back into gear a little bit. And in general, I think this week will be a lot of this sort of self-created work and trying to push personal projects forward. I think that this is something I'm just gonna have to dedicate my time to. As I wait for other things to pan out, I need to keep on pushing my personal projects forward. And these are the things that I care so much about anyway, so yay. Good morning guys, happy Tuesday. I am just getting ready to head into London to have lunch with my friend Claire. Claire and I went to high school and college together. And she's been living in London for a long time with her family, and I'm so excited to see her. I think I haven't seen her in at least 5 years, probably not since our last college reunion. But I love seeing people that I went to high school with and college with, obviously, but I guess it's funny to me to think that we've known each other since we were 13, and now look at us 30 years later. So let's head into London.
Option to be someone else, I would, and let go of you. I know that I'm obvious, fuck it, I'm made this way, but why didn't I stay when I had the chance?
Good morning, happy Wednesday. I had such a fun day yesterday in London that I slept in today, and I just got up and I showered. Wet hair. I'm wearing my Japanese Red Hot Chili Peppers t-shirt, although I actually don't really know what it says in Japanese, so I'm hoping that it says something that is related to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I bought it at a store here in the UK. I thought I would open some packages on video today. I recently just did a whole bunch of orders. I don't actually order that much stuff online because getting things delivered here where I live now is not as convenient as it is when I live in New York. Like in New York, I have a doorman and there's always somebody there to sign for stuff. But it's kind of tricky if you live in an apartment building with no doorman and the people who do deliveries don't have access to the mailroom. So I try not to order that much stuff. Anyway, I also try to support local businesses or businesses that have opened shops locally. I also enjoy getting out and buying stuff anyway. But I did order some things recently that I couldn't buy in person, so I thought I would open them online. There is one package that I already did open earlier before this video because I really wanted one yesterday, and it arrived right as I was walking out the door to go to London. I found a place in the UK that sells Alani Nu, and Alani Nu is very hard to find outside of the US. When I was living in Hong Kong, I would have to order it from the US, have it sent to Hong Kong, and sometimes it would take upwards of like 6 to 8 weeks to arrive. But here in the UK, in case you live in the UK and you want Alani Nu, I ordered two cases of their energy drink, one in Watermelon Wave and one in Cosmic Stardust. I love these flavors. And if you want them in the UK, you can get them from a company called Protein Pick and Mix. So you can just find that online. I'll link it also down below. Not affiliate link, just love them. All the things that I have ordered that have just arrived are all sort of health related things. One is obviously going to be less necessary than some of the other ones, so I'll open that one first. So this is my order from Gymshark. Now, Lord knows I do not need any more leggings, but I really, really wanted something from the new Whitney Simmons by Gymshark collection. So I placed an order and I controlled myself pretty well, and I just ordered one pair of leggings and one of her oversized t-shirts, both in black, so super practical, super basic. I ordered the mesh leggings from Whitney and they look like this. It's impossible to tell, they're black. I always buy things in black. I love color leggings and workout clothes, but I find that I buy them and then I hardly ever or never wear them. So these are the mesh leggings. They have that brand bit on the waistband, and then on the butt they have that scrunch thing, which to be honest does not make that much of a big difference on me. I watched a ton of videos online about these leggings before buying them, and everyone said that they're very, very stretchy. And they are. They are way stretchier than a lot of other Gymshark's best-selling leggings, and maybe about the same thinness and stretchiness as last year's Whitney leggings, which I actually do love because they are so thin and comfortable and stretchy, but still completely opaque in black. I also bought one of the Whitney oversized black tees, and it says Alive. One thing that's actually surprising about this t-shirt, now that I'm touching it in person, I do not always read the fabric content in description boxes on product pages, but it is a sort of performance fabric and it is not cotton, which is great. Oh wow, it is made of 92% recycled polyester and 8% elastane for stretch. So this is great because I love Gymshark t-shirts and tops. I actually buy a lot of them because I find them to be very well priced for workout t-shirts. But I do find that their cotton t-shirts, especially in black, don't wash as well as, say, I don't know, cotton t-shirts from some other brands that I like. So I'm glad that this is a performance-y fabric. My second package, I know exactly what this is. These are my supplements. I was never really a supplements person until I started working out and trying to lose weight in a serious way about like 2.5, 3 years ago now when I was in Hong Kong. And at the time, my trainer recommended I try these supplements because when I was getting my caliper fat measurements done, skin fold measurements, my trainer noticed that I had a lot of inflammation, which sits right under the skin. And it was really interesting for me because growing up, my mother is a big believer in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, and there is a term in TCM called 火气, which is basically inflammation. And my body type and my genetic composition, for some reason, naturally inclined me to higher inflammation. So about 2.5 years ago, I started taking a lot of supplements that were designed to help me with my inflammation. And I actually think they've really helped me. The thing with supplements, in my experience, and I'm obviously not a doctor and I don't really know anything official about homeopathic medicine, but for me, the effect of supplements takes time. It takes a long time of regularly taking them, and only then will you start to see a subtle shift in how your body responds and how you feel. When I really notice that supplements are doing good things for me is in certain cases when I have run out of supplements and I've been either too cheap or too lazy to reorder them. And then after a couple of weeks, I start feeling my body doing old things that it used to do that make me feel less healthy, less well, and just slower moving than I have in the past. So these are the supplements that I take, and these were recommended to me by a trainer working individually with me. These are by no means recommendations for you. Every single person is different. So I'm gonna show you what I take. I get all of my supplements from Ultimate Performance. They are based here in the UK, but I also believe they have a presence in the United States. Ultimate Performance is the gym I used to go to in Hong Kong, and that's just the only reason I take these supplements. It's because I've been taking this particular brand of supplement for so long. I am happy just to stick with what works and what I feel comfortable with. So every day I take omega-3s. I also take D3. In addition to those two, I also take a magnesium supplement every day, which helps me with my muscle recovery and my sleep, but I didn't need to reorder that, so there's no bottle in this box. The other bottles in this box, one is inflammation support, which is curcumin, ginger, and ashwagandha extract. And I also take a supplement that is a combination supplement, and it's called Estro Support. This particular type of Estro Support has Longvita curcumin, calcium D glucarate, resveratrol, dindolylmethane, and broccoli powder. I couldn't tell you what those things individually do. Again, I am not an expert, so do not take any of these things as recommendations. But I started taking Estro Support because I'm in my 40s, and at this age, the way that my hormones are shifting, it started to cause me to hold on to a lot of upper body fat, specifically in my back. And what I have found is that over the course of many years now, 2 years of taking this, I found that my body is able to more evenly distribute my fat storage. So it is not as heavily weighted on my upper back as it was before. Again, I have no direct proof that this has anything to do with back fat, but from what I understand, a side product of estrogen processing in my body creates something that encourages my body to store fat in my back, and taking this helps me process the estrogen in my body way more efficiently and better. And my last box, this is also an absolute must-have. I guess you could consider it a supplement, but it is something that I've been taking every single day, once a day, for the past many years. Ever since, even when I was in New York, I was taking this. Now, I started taking this probably 4 or 5 years ago because I went on a hiking trip one year, and while I don't think I officially sprained my knee or did any official damage to one of my knees on that trip, I did feel like I pulled something, and then I started getting quite nervous about how that joint was going to heal. Hip issues also run in my family, and as I've gotten a little bit older, I've started to feel a twinge in one of my hips, and I want to make sure that I'm protecting my joints as I'm getting older. I have tried taking glucosamine, and I am one of those people who, when they take glucosamine, their joints hurt more. There's a very, very small percentage of people who glucosamine affects in that way. And so what I found works way better for me and for protecting my joints, for skin benefits too, and potentially hair benefits, is collagen hydrolysate. So I take 2 scoops of this every day. I bought the one that is EU approved. There are different versions. There's one that I used to buy in the US, and there's one that is EU certified and approved. I think it's just different standards. It's like the FDA, but FDA only works in the US. So that's it for my packages. Today I have a bunch of work to do. I am recording another episode of the podcast tonight. Just Andy and I are going to be talking about some hot topics and news that we've seen recently. And today I gotta clean up my apartment. It's kind of a mess because I was out all day yesterday and I just have not dealt with it in a few days. So I'm gonna do that, and I will see you guys later. Good morning. It is Thursday. I took a shower after the gym and did not wash my hair. My hair actually looks much better if I don't wash it, but I like freshly washed hair and anyway. I think I mentioned in a previous video that lately when I've been going into London, when I catch a glimpse of what I look like in mirrors or in windows, I'm a little bit taken aback at how loosey-goosey I've gotten with my grooming and like my presentation, only because, you know, for the past year and a half we've all just been by ourselves. So I am going to take some proactive steps towards a mini glow up. I am not a mega glow up person. I'm always pretty low maintenance, but today is the day for a haircut. My last haircut was probably in May. I tried to get an appointment for a haircut as soon as salons were reopened in April, but I couldn't get in for like a month. So I got a haircut in May, so it's probably high time. I think I'm gonna go a little bit shorter than I usually go. My hair is quite long. It's like, it's almost like at my rib cage, and I think I should just have hair that is double the length of my face, if that makes sense. So I sort of want to just get maybe 4 or 5 inches cut off. And because I also don't really want a creative haircut, so I'm just gonna ask for a very sharp blunt cut. So when I wear my hair straight, which is how I usually wear it, it'll all just look super neat and tidy. So that's what we're doing. Super simple, blunt cut. I always find that that is the safest haircut for me and my type of hair because my hair is pin straight. And that way, if I do want to style it, I can, and I don't have to worry about layers or things sticking out. I'm back and my hair, I feel so much better. They blow dry my hair in the salon, and to be honest, I have never been somebody for blowouts. I actually prefer it when I dry my hair myself. I don't know why. I think I get a little bit more of a natural straight look when I dry my hair myself. I'm just looking at the thing, the viewfinder. I like it. I'm really happy with the length. I feel like it makes me look a little bit neater and slightly tidier. And then afterwards, as I was walking around, I realized I'm wearing just like a t-shirt dress. And so then I went to And Other Stories and I bought a long, thin cardigan. And it's something I've been looking for a long time. I'll show you guys. So a few months ago, I bought a dress on sale at COS, which is related to And Other Stories. I think they're both owned by H&M. And the dress is, I love this color. It's like a cocoa brown color, but it's sleeveless, and I am not totally comfortable wearing sleeveless dresses. And so I've been looking for a long, thin cardigan to layer on top of it. And I found it. I guess this is what you would call a coatigan, like a coat cardigan, but it's very long. It goes all the way down to my ankles, but it's like slit on the sides. It's a very thin knit. And what I like about this is that it's warm because it's a cotton wool blend, but because the cotton, it's not itchy. And then I came home and I found this in my mailbox waiting for me, and I'm so excited for this. One of my really good friends in New York, Mickey Boardman, he is on Instagram as Ask Mr. Mickey, because that is the column that he used to write for a long time in Paper Magazine. He is a fashion personality and is just such a distinctive person in the New York media landscape. And as I joined the industry, I was lucky enough to become friends with Mickey, and he recently launched a clothing line. And so I had to order something from his clothing line. You can get his stuff on a website called hypericonic.com. I'll link it down below. But I bought the thing that has a picture of his face on it, and it's a sketch of Mr. Mickey. Good morning, it's Friday. What's up, guys? I'm back home. I showered. My trainer was a no-show today, which is annoying, but this kind of stuff happens because we are all people. So I just did about half an hour on the treadmill, which is great because I have not been getting all of my steps in recently. Now I'm back home. I'm having a coffee in my Emma Bridgewater New York mug, which I love. I love Emma Bridgewater. I don't know if you can get it in the States, but all of her stuff is, it looks like it's all hand painted. I don't know if it is, but it's very cool. I'm actually pretty swamped today, which is a little bit weird, especially for a Friday. But this morning I am working on a memo for a job interview, which is exciting. And this afternoon I am editing another episode of my podcast with Andy, and I know I keep on talking about it. I was thinking about actually doing a video about how I learned to make podcasts. It would be a guide for total beginners like me. I am not a technical person, and I think I watched a lot of YouTube videos before making my first podcast last year, and they were helpful, but there was still so much I had to figure out on my own. So let me know in the comments if that's something you might be interested in seeing. So this afternoon I'm editing, and we have actually landed a really interesting opportunity to do another different podcast that is underwritten and sponsored by a municipal organization, which is super, super exciting. And I'll let you guys know once we start finalizing that. What's up, guys? Happy Saturday. I had a late start this morning. I think in the middle of the night I was woken up by screaming drunk people in the street, so I slept in this morning. I didn't do a whole lot this morning. I did a little bit of work on a business structure I'm working on with my friend, and then I watched like an hour of catfish MTV videos while I ate my breakfast, and then I showered. So I'm clean, which is nice. I feel like I simultaneously did a lot of things this week, but also didn't really do that much. And I'm trying to figure out where the balance is between work and podcasting and doing admin stuff and editing versus remembering to do things just for fun and making sure I make time to do things that I enjoy for myself. One of the things I did do this week, and I don't know if I should talk about this, but I will because I think it's super interesting, is that I have first round interviews with Amazon for a role in their, I think it's the marketing division of the company, and every single FAANG company, it's F-A-A-N-G, so it's Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. It's like those like big tech companies. Every single one of them have a very specific type of interview process and corporate culture that is really important to learn before you have your first round interview. So I haven't had my interview yet, but before the Amazon first interview, you have to take a work style assessment, which is almost like a personality assessment. I've only taken these post offer, and usually when a recruiting agency or an executive coaching company is involved in the recruiting process. So I love doing these. I feel like I learn a lot about myself. I feel really glad when they confirm things that I know about myself versus exposing things that I sort of am in denial about. But Amazon asks you to do a work style assessment before you are clear to go through to the first interview. And so I did that this week, which was really exciting. And I actually was excited when I learned that they do this. And so I did that, and then pretty immediately I was clear to go through to the first interview, which is a phone interview. And they send you all these documents that you have to read online about what the first interview is like. And I think these tech companies have pretty notorious first interviews. I guess like maybe 10 years ago, there was this book that came out that was called like, Are You Smart Enough to Work at Google or something like that? And it talks about the interview questions, and they're not dissimilar to consulting company questions for like big consulting companies like McKinsey and Bain and BCG. But I guess the Amazon first interview is not even like a case studies interview, and it's not a, you know, work getting to know you as a team member interview. It sounds like the first interview is a phone screener. So this is already post work style assessment that you do online. The first interview is a behavioral phone screener, which is also exciting because I approach these in a very authentic, honest way, because I think it actually is really hugely important that wherever you end up working, you fit in with the culture. That is massively important to me. And actually, I went through the Netflix recruiting process probably a year ago, and I don't think I made it to very, very final rounds, but I made it pretty far, and I loved that process. I'm treating this interview process as a learning experience in and of itself. And I actually really appreciate how a lot of these tech companies have thought very carefully about their corporate culture and about how putting their employees through a very structured, thoughtful recruiting process can contribute to creating a corporate culture that they want to create, instead of having people end up there and being like, oh, this is not for me. All that said, I enjoy transparency and I'm enjoying the process so far. I'm only like one step in. So I don't know if I'm gonna update you guys as we go along. I don't know how far I'll make it through the interview process, but I am learning a lot so far. So that is something else I've been busy doing. I think this weekend I am going to just lay low because I have been quite busy during the week. I will try to set aside some time to work on the novel that I did start working on in May. I do think I talked about this a little bit last week, but I don't know if I ended up cutting it out of the final video because I don't think I'm ready to talk about it quite yet. But what I can say is that when you write even a fictionalized novel, this would be my very first real work of fiction. I don't know if anyone's gonna publish it, but I think at this point it's important for me to do it for myself. But when you write your first work of fiction, a lot of the situations can be inspired by situations you have been through in your real life. And the novel I'm working on is sort of hinged on the idea of identity as a Asian American person working in media, and a lot of things that happened to me throughout my career, because they were professional things, I really thought of them as just business. And I think as I'm going through the process of writing things down and recalling things that happened to me and putting a fictional spin on them, a lot of bad feelings have sort of resurfaced. And these are all feelings that I really pushed down over the years because I treated it as it's just business and people are just this way when you work in media. And maybe it's not the case. I think looking at it from a framework of 2021 and all of the conversations that have happened in the public discourse over the past 5-10 years, I do think revisiting these situations through this new lens that we're all kind of looking at has really made me feel like I'm revisiting old trauma. So that's something I'm also doing. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, and if you've watched to the end, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in next week's vlog.